Okay, so for this project, I'm going to use some assets from kitbash3d.com, and you can go on their website and grab some assets for yourself. As a matter of fact, they have a free kit, so if you go to kits, you will see here that they have the mini kit, the Neo CD, for free. They might not have this exact one at the time you are seeing this video, but you can grab any and it will work fine. So yeah, you just have to add this to cart, and then it will ask you for some information, and you can choose between multiple formats, and there is one for Houdini. So definitely take the one for Houdini, as there is some BGO files and a heap file we are going to take a look at. Okay, so let's switch over to Houdini, and I'm going to open the heap scene that is in the kit. So let's go Rebelway, Solaris, and then asset prep, and I think, yeah, that's this one. Okay. So let's go over, as you can see, of course, it's not set up for USD. So let's just switch over to OBJ, and you will see that we have some nice buildings, and we are going to use those to build a city. So let's take a look inside. Basically, it's just file nodes and then some transform to lay out them, and a merge node to take a look at everything. And then we have some materials, but I think there are just principal shaders. Yeah. Right. We're probably going to redo them anyway. So the principal shader will work with Karma, and it's actually the shader used for Karma and Mantra, of course. But we are not going to use that. We're going to make our own. So we're not really going to use this scene. We're going to just create from scratch and prepare each asset one by one. Of course, you won't have to do them one by one, but we're going to just do a few. Okay, let's start. Okay, so there are multiple ways of adding in materials to my asset, and I could actually do it here in the SOP create with a matnet, a material network, and I could even just go to the mat here and just import them from here, but that's probably what that's probably not a good way to do it. What you want is probably going to do it here, and you have this node called material library, and it's basically a matnet, really. And inside there you can just add materials. So let's create, for now we'll just keep to Karma. Let's create a principal shader, and then let's see how it's imported in stage. And you can see here it's at the end of my scene graph, and it's already there, so I could probably already use it. Before 18.5, you had to actually import every materials that you wanted to export from the material library to bring them into the stage context. And if you want, you can actually get rid of that and be specific about what materials you want to export from there. But by default, it's set to import everything. So yeah. Let's just keep that. And you can already assign some materials to geometry here, but we want to be more explicit when we work, so it's good to have a separated node for that, and we have the assign material node. And by default you can it's already set to LOP input prims, and this means whatever is the input node, but that we don't want to assign a node to the material library, of course. What we want is just for now I'm going to try and assign a material to this one, so let's just yeah, okay, so sorry, I'm going a bit fast here. I already have a material here, and the way you have to assign a material is basically give the assigned material node the path to the geometry you want to assign to, and then the material path. And the material path is not the path inside this, like that would be LOP and then sorry, stage and then material library, but it's rather the path in the scene graph tree. So that's something that should not be mistaken. So the way you can do it is just click here on the arrow key, sorry, on the arrow here, and just select maybe building and press enter. Okay, I'm not sure why this didn't work. Okay, that worked. And then you can select the material path, but you can actually do it another way, and that's just clicking here on the path you want to assign to, and then drop it here in the primitives. Sometimes on bigger scenes this can be a bit laggy, so what I tend to do in general is just select what I want and then press the Alt and then C key, or just right click and then copy path. So this will copy my path, and then I can Control V here, and it will assign to this primitive. And if you want, you can select multiple paths. So let's say I want to assign to these two. I can just drag and drop the two, and it's just separated by a space here. Okay, so for now I want to assign to everything, the whole group. And then I want to assign my principal shader one, so let's just drop that, and it just changed color. And you should already be able to render with Karma. I think even without a shader, you can already render with Karma. So I just added a dome light, and yeah, my shader is assigned. Cool. Okay, so as I said before, for this particular project, I'm going to use Arnold. And if I try to switch to Arnold right now, it will render something actually, and I'm not sure. Yeah, this actually supports the principal shader, but I probably want to stay away from the principal shader and use the Arnold shader instead. I'm not quite sure it will support everything and translate everything correctly from the principal shader to the standard one. So how can I just have one material and that works with Arnold and Houdini and Karma? So you can do that, and we're going to do that right now. Okay, so let's just create a shader, and let's say I want it, maybe I want it red, right, and then I want to just create a standard surface, so yeah, that's the Arnold shader, and I'm going to make it blue, so let's just 0.8 and then 0. Sorry, that's green. Okay, and then get rid of the specular. And then if I check here my scene graph tree, I only have my principal shader one, and my standard surface is missing right now. So the way you have to make the material library understand that you want to actually be able to use this material is you have to set the material flag here. Okay, and now I have the two. So what I can do is try to assign the two, maybe. So let's just try that. And standard surface, and let's see. So the Houdini GL hasn't changed, and if I switch to Karma, I can see it's still red, and if I switch to Arnold, then it's still red. So that's not the way you would assign a material that is compatible with any renderer. So let's try to do that. So in the material library, you have a node called the collect node, and this node will let you work with multiple renderers. So the way it works is that you have to connect it to a principal shader. So the shader one is the one that will be used in the Houdini GL. So if I switch to Houdini GL, and I assign here in the material assign node, I will replace it with the collect node, and you can see it's still red, so it's still grabbing this one, but I could switch to this instead. Oh, and it's giving me an error, and that is because Arnold doesn't really work with the standard surface. The collect node doesn't support the standard surface out of the box. So what you have to do first is use the Arnold material builder, and this is basically a subnet, and that just supports only Arnold nodes. So in there you can create a standard surface, and then I'll just set it to blue, and 0 and 0, okay. And then you have to just collect the shader to the surface output here. And then I can get rid of that one. And you can see here that the surface is the same color as the surface here, which wasn't the case for this one. If you show here the shader, it's yellow, which isn't. It just means that it's not the same data, so it won't be understood the same way. And let's just connect this one. If I go to Houdini GL, okay, it's just showing gray right now. Yeah, and I don't think the collect node, the Houdini GL will support Arnold colors or anything, maybe in the future. So of course, if you're building a shader for multiple renderers, what you want to do is probably connect the principal shader first, so it will have the basic color, and then I can collect the Arnold material builder. And so it doesn't really matter the order, it's just the first one will be for Houdini GL. So let's just save and then switch to Arnold. And yes, I have my blue shader, cool. And if I switch to Karma, it will be the red one. Cool, great. So the thing is, here you can see in my scene graph tree that I still have my Arnold material builder, and then my principal shader, and then my collect one, but I don't really need to have them exported from the material library. So what I can do is just disable the material flag. and this way I just have the collect one, and I will rename that maybe test mat. Okay. And yeah, it disappeared because it doesn't rename for you, so you have to just drag and drop again. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's this is the way we're going to build shaders for this project, because I want you to be able to follow along for Karma render, but I also want to render it with Arnold. So if you have Arnold, then good for you. You will be able to render with it. But yeah, Karma is fine. Cool. Okay, so let's see how my geometries are imported in the stage context. So as you can see, right now I have my SOP create one, and it's just taking the name here, SOP create one, and that's because I have an import path prefix here that is taking $OS, which is my node name. So I could change that, and I could actually take the name of the file. That would be I think that would be the way I would do it. So let's just copy that, and then yeah. And whenever you change the hierarchy, it will just close the expansion of the graph because you have changed the name. But if I revert, it should actually just open it again. Yeah. So let's Control D. Okay. And then you can see that my geometry, it's currently an X-form, but it's of kind component, and I want to change that. And that's something that you will have to do to stay organized, is choosing here in the SOP import. You can change in the primitive definition the kind authoring. By default, it's set to all geometry is one component, and that's generally what you don't want that in general. What you will want is probably nested groups and components, and sometimes it can be good to have nested assembly groups and components for bigger assets. But yeah, let's just keep that like that for now. And yeah, like I said, my meshes here are already called, they have the same name as the textures, so I don't really need the geometry subsets here, so I'm going to get rid of that. Let's create an attribute delete node, and let's delete, okay, so there's actually a lot of vertex attributes, and I'm not quite sure what they are for, but we're going to delete them. So let's select map channel 2, or actually, you know what, let's delete everything and just keep the UVs and the normals. And then, yeah, that should be fine. And then on the primitive attributes, this is the geometry subset. I will just delete the material, and this will get rid of the geometry subset. Okay. And I don't have any detailed attributes. Okay, good. So now I have a more clear hierarchy, and I could probably do something more organized though. What I would want is to have an X form and then a group up top. So let's just do that. I could probably actually just let's just name my node like that, so it will be clearer in the graph, and then switch back to $OS. But let's say I do that. Let's see, I'm not quite sure it will work. Okay. Yeah. So what I wanted is to have a group and then a transform, and it works actually. That's a transform is just a group, but I probably want to add GRP and then Geo here. Okay. What did it do? Is this okay? So yeah, so sometimes when you set dynamic variables here, you will need to actually add in the double point semicolon. I'm not quite sure how it's called in English, but you will need to add this and then an R here, and this will just debug. For some reason that's needed sometimes. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah. But yeah, right now I have a group and then a transform and then every mesh underneath. Maybe I want to have something more. Maybe what I would love to have is have actually a mesh, and then for each mesh I want to have a transform node. So let's try to do that. Okay, I will just revert this and yeah, just have my group, and then let's see how is my pass attribute. Okay, so my pass attribute is just like that, and you can see I have a lot of primitives. And how could I do that? I could probably use the rename here. Yeah, I think I will go with a wrangle on this one. So let's set it to primitives and then do @pass, and that's the string attribute. And let's do it like that. Let's just @pass plus dash and then plus @pass. Oh, sorry. And then a plus here, and then let's see what this gives us. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want. So what I've done here is I've assigned to the pass attribute, I've assigned the old pass attribute and added a slash and then again the pass attribute. So it just doubled the pass hierarchy. Sorry, the name it had, it created a hierarchy. So whenever you add a forward slash, it will just do another level of hierarchy. So I could actually go and add in whatever I want here. So let's just type in whatever. And all of these will have a new transform, a new group here. So what I would like is just have some kind of GRP here, and then add in here Geo. So it's not really needed, but it's good to have something clear. So you don't really need to take a look at the primitive type or kind. You already know that a transform or a group, and then this is a mesh or a Geo. Okay, and that's actually that looks like what I wanted. So great. Let's take a look at the scene view, and in the scene view you can see that nothing has changed, but now I'm able to just select what I want. And like we said before, you can set the visibility if you want. You can solo things to make sure that everything is grouped up correctly, that you have these are what you would expect. Yeah, and then let's just clear all viewports override. So yeah, so let's get to assigning materials.